Beautiful. Well, first of all, Monique Mate is here, who's the head of the letter carriers. It's local 20, national
210.
letter carriers.
210. Branch
210.
210. Yep.
Oh, I knew I had a 2 and a 0.
Yes.
210.
Yeah, close.
Who've now been on, you've been doing this now how long?
President for a little bit over a year.
Right.
Was vice president for a while,
Right.
and then our president retired. So.
And although this shouldn't affect anything in any way, a fellow Irondequoiter, grew up in Irondequoit?
I am. My mom just retired last year from the town of Irondequoit, and born and raised, and so yeah, we're big Irondequoit people.
Yes,
so.
indeed. We share that. We share many things.
We do. She said hello, by the way.
Yes, please
of
give her
course.
my love. Please do that. I wanted to have this conversation because you and I talked and we traded text messages, and really, really concerned about attacks on letter carriers that have happened, a number around the country, but the ones particularly here in Rochester.
Sure.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but certainly about the case and what that we have legislation which I co-sponsor that will in some ways deal with this, and I know that's important to letter carriers. But I thought maybe you could share with folks, just the kind of the life of a letter carrier. We all take this for granted.
Sure.
This extraordinary system, which has been around now for 250 years.
Yes, yeah.
250 years.
We're a staple.
You are a staple. And people just come to rely on it. But it's hard work. And, you're not postal workers. I think we should also say that. Letter carriers and postal workers are...
Yeah, we're still postal workers.
Yes,
I don't want to say that.
No, I don't mean that. But you're not part of the Postal Workers Union. You're separate because you represent letter carriers.
Carriers
They're the
only.
ones who are the last mile, as we say.
Listen, I say it's the hardest job in the post office. I believe that.
Yeah.
So
talk a little bit about that.
Well, I believe we are the face of the post office, the letter carriers, and it's not an easy job. It's never been an easy job. Obviously, we all know the elements are a big part of it,
Right,
but
right. Because on the coldest, most
Doesn't
windblown,
matter.
icy, miserable days when everybody is scrambling to get inside,
we are
out
there.
there.
We are out there. State of emergency means nothing to us. We are not part of that. So I've worked through many state of emergencies, but love the job. The job has changed through the years.
Yeah.
We used to have obviously a lot more mail when I started in 1991. It has kind of obviously changed with the internet. So people are paying their bills online or whatnot.
Yeah, right,
but still, mail's still important. But a lot more packages now and a lot more automation. So the job, to be honest, when I started in the 90s compared to where it is now, it's harder for these young people and these carriers because, to be honest, the automation... these carriers are on the street a lot longer. We used to manually sort our mail in the morning. Now a lot of it is already sorted.
Pre-sorted,
for. Yeah, it's pre-sorted, which then gets us out of the office earlier. And so, for example, I would case mail for 3 to 4 hours and deliver for 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours.
Really?
And now... an hour and a half maybe in the office, and the rest of the day is on the street. So,
and are the routes larger than they would have been?
They've changed through the years, so they're definitely longer. They're walking farther, with the elements, it makes it even longer than that.
And it's a little backbreaking, isn't it? I mean, those sacks look like they're
for sure
not insignificant.
No, they're we're supposed to be able to carry up to 30 pounds in our satchel. Yeah. And 30 pounds doesn't sound like a lot until you put 30 pounds.
Yeah, right.
And you're carrying mail. So it's a very physical job. And to be honest, it's gotten more physical because we're out there longer.
So you go into the office typically, wherever it is. So if you're like my would be Beechwood.
Your Beechwood.
14609.
Yep.
Waring Road, where I go and drop mail because I still mail notes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So do people go there? If you're for 14609 carrier, you would go to Waring Road and pick up your mail there?
Correct, yeah. So if I worked from the Beechwood station, I actually still have a route in the Irondequoit station, but if I worked in the Beechwood station, I would go to Beechwood in the morning, and whatever mail was not sorted, we would then sort what didn't get
Really?
automated. you
Really?
know?
So some of it isn't sorted when you get there.
Yeah, correct. Not everything can get through the machine. Not everything is machinable, or sometimes the machines break down.
So is it just a pile and people are just kind of like...
They have a system where it's at
Yeah,
each
yeah,
case. So,
okay,
we have different, we're letter carriers, but we also have clerks that kind of sort it to get it to
Yeah.
our case, and
Yeah.
truck drivers that bring it. So it's sorted in that sense. But
And the same would be true of 14607, anywhere that there's one on Winton Road.
Yep.
North, and people go there who have that route.
Correct.
And then that's how the day starts.
Yes.
And then they're out.
They're out. They're out all day. So they sort their mail, they load their own truck, and then they're out for the rest of the day.
And I guess it matters. Some people have home delivery. Others would have a box. You just go in, not just, but you're on the street, so you're opening, right?
Yes.
They don't get out the vehicle then, right?
It depends. All different areas, yes. So, for example, you're from Beechwood.
Right.
And it has both.
Yes.
Where it's, what is called curbside, where you
Right.
drive and you just put it in the mailbox.
Right.
And that tends to be more of the senior carriers, because we bid on everything. Everything is seniority based in the post office.
So if a route becomes open,
yes.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but I'm fascinated by it. When people do things that I don't know,
Right.
I mean, I just rely on it. It's like if someone asked me to explain electricity, I'd go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I plug in and I don't know, something, electricity comes out. I have no idea how it really works. So when
it's
I
just
get,
a plug.
Yeah, exactly. So
Makes it
same is true. I mean, every day my mail just shows up. Somebody
Right.
brings it.
Yeah.
And they're very nice to do it. And
It's amazing if you think about how many hands and how many machines it went through to
Yeah.
get there within.
Well, plus how
a day or
quickly,
two.
I mean, even with all the changes, if I drop something in the mail within 3 or 4 days, depending on where it's going,
Sure.
it's arrived.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yes.
I paid,
75 cents, I think it's up to.
First class.
First class is
Yeah.
75 cents. So
it's still for 75 cents, I'm going to send a letter somewhere halfway across the country.
Anywhere
and
in the
it's going to be there in a
country.
few days.
Anywhere in
That's
the country.
Still much kind of a bargain.
It's the same if I send it across the street or to California. It's
Yeah.
75 cents.
So tell me the challenges that. I have one other question.
Sure.
How many steps could you get if you're a mail carrier?
Oh, we get definitely they're hitting the 10,000 and beyond for sure. But
yeah.
obviously each route is different. Some if you're in apartments or whatnot.
Right,
But I think the longest one for me was 14 miles a day.
That's a lot of steps.
It is. And a lot of that might be not 14 miles walking from here, 14 miles. It's going up and down the steps.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you stop in the street, you get out, you deliver part of the street, go back to your truck, you deliver the other part of the street. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of getting in and out things. So, yeah, it varies.
Yeah.
It varies on the type of route. But, yeah, you
Yeah.
can walk anywhere from, 9 to 14 miles in a day without
That's
blinking an eye.
that's movement. So how big is the region for 210?
So we do. So I represent all by zip codes, all 146. So anybody who's 146,
Yeah.
and then anything that is 144 or 145.
So you go out of Monroe County?
Oh,
Yeah, you must.
So
for those
yeah,
zip
so
codes.
we're as far as our farthest office south, I think it is Wellsville. So we're all the way there, and that's actually 148. But we have Albion
Yeah.
and Geneseo and Sodus. That's kind of our
So
farthest
there's
out.
Western New York, there's Southern Tier, there's Syracuse, and then we're everywhere in
Yeah.
between. How many letter carriers do you represent?
So total about 1,550, but that includes retirees.
Yeah. How many active?
Active is around 850.
So that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of carriers, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a lot of carriers. There's a lot of stuff out there, a lot of workers.
So I do want to talk about some of the incidents that have happened because they're very, very troubling. You want to share anything? Obviously, we don't want to get into the details of the investigation, but
Sure.
How many? There were 4.
There was 4 in a week, but in that time frame, there was about 5. There was within about 2 weeks, but there was 2 in one day.
Yeah.
There was 5 that we think are linked. We're guessing was linked because it was the same type of assault. Basically, from what we've been told, about 3 men The carriers were either getting ready to start their loop, what we call it. They're in the back of the truck loading up their satchel and whatnot, and a carrier got attacked. They jumped him, grabbed his satchel, grabbed everything in it, packages, his keys, and hit him. But we've had all sorts. Somebody got hit in the head from behind. Somebody else was in the truck on break, and I think he didn't have the door locked, and they attacked him in that way. So
first, most importantly, how are all the carriers doing?
Physically, thank God, all of them are fine. Mentally, a few of them are really struggling.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty traumatic.
Some of them got hit worse than others, and from out of nowhere. And it's ranging from carriers with 10 years in to the one guy I think was on his third or fourth week by himself. So
welcome to the job.
Welcome to the job, and I will say he's back working. So I'm glad to say that he stuck it out. But it's scary. It's scary.
I know law enforcement's working hard on this.
They are. So we have postal inspectors that are definitely investigating it, and they're working with RPD because it's all happened in the city of Rochester, and they're working hand in hand. They're not giving us much details, but they do update us that it's not being forgotten, and they're
Active
getting closer. Yeah, it is getting closer. The mayor's been very great with the Rochester police. I will kudos to Rochester police that anytime the carrier's calling or if there's an issue, they're quick to respond.
Yeah.
And they're also, if the carriers are out or if they see the vehicle, they are taking notice. They're driving by, so they're definitely helping us out.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But the short-term impact is, I'm sure, the carriers in the region, especially with locales that are close to where these incidents happen, are probably much more vigilant about the way they go about their business.
Sure.
And on the lookout more. So I suppose that's one of the short-term. What do you think some of the longer impacts? I mean, will this make the job seem less attractive? Do you think it'll hurt recruitment or retention? You're talking to people, so you know morale. What are the impacts of that?
Well, the impact is it's a job that you shouldn't fear. You think of the letter carrier. I mean, we talking about the post office and how it works, and it was never a job that you feared for your life. We were always part of the neighborhood. We always felt like we were part of the neighborhood. Never mattered.
People would look for him. I remember growing up, my letter carrier, Dave.
Yeah.
You got to really develop a relationship. Sometimes we'd talk for a little bit. I mean, obviously he was going about his business, but you did look for him, and my kids knew him, and
you're just a staple in that neighborhood.
Right.
I mean, it's if somebody goes on vacation, the letter carrier watches their house. I mean, you just have that relationship. There was always that relationship. It was never fear, and obviously with the threats and these assaults that are. Not just in Rochester, it's everywhere in the country, but the uptick in Rochester, it's been hard. People are very fearful, and, we've had a few that just will not stay if they're early in their career because they're fearful of the job. They don't want to, they want to go home to their families, and it's scary. So, yes, it is, to answer your question, is definitely a challenge.
Yeah. So you and I talked about, and I co-sponsor the Protect Our Letter Carriers Act of 2025, which has a number of different pieces of it. Some of it calls on the Department of Justice to actually engage actively in making sure we're prosecuting. So I think they have to assign each of and I think there are 94 district courts, so there's 94 plus U.S. attorneys in each of those regions will be required to assign an assistant U.S. attorney to look at these cases.
Correct. And that's a big part of it. As we spoke, a lot of it is the infrastructure.
Right.
Updating the keys, which we'll talk about, but definitely assigning to the district attorney to make it quicker. Yeah. A lot of times, we just saw in the news, somebody got convicted for stealing mail or opening a collection box, but it was from 2 years ago. So it just doesn't have the same effect, obviously. So yes,
so that's one of the
definitely
elements. The other is a sentencing commission.
Yes.
To look at the crimes, right, and to look at what the sanctions are, what the penalties are for committing these crimes.
Correct, and that's we want to be treated like law enforcement, and that's what it would bring. If you assault or touch a letter carrier, that it would be treating it like you assaulted a police officer or any law enforcement. We just got a statistic that recently, the past couple of years, there's only like a 15% prosecution rate for all the assaults.
Wow. Because they haven't been able to identify who the perpetrators are, and because it's maybe a lower level.
Lower level, a little bit of everything, but lower level it seems to be where, I know when I started, I always thought we were untouchable. We worked for the federal government. It never was a thought. We didn't have these issues, but you always thought that because you work for the Postal Service, that nobody's going to touch you, or nobody would even try because, there's going to be harsher penalties, and it seems to be that's not the case, which this bill would definitely help with that.
Yeah.
So
it's certainly becoming, unfortunately, a part of American life. I mean,
yes.
Even, we talk about this in Congress, the number of attacks on public officials over the last few years. It feels like nothing is sacred.
Nothing's off limits.
Right. Letter carriers were always sort of seen as protected within a community. The other thing that the bill does is, I think, appropriates or authorizes $1.4 billion in upgrades in technology. Correct. And I do want to spend, I don't want to share too much, but some of the technological changes could be pretty dramatic. And we see in the private sector, Amazon and other companies that do logistics, they have cutting-edge technology. The Postal Service really has not.
Correct. We're still using antiquated equipment, basically, and it's no secret now. We weren't really putting it out there publicly, but it is no secret now that the keys are old, and that's pretty much the main attraction, I think, when it comes to what can I get from the letter carrier. There's a market for them, and those keys are normally what these people are looking for, and so
I'm sorry, just again, because I found this. I said there's a lot of things I don't know anything about. This was one of them in our conversation. Yeah. I was struck by how the keys are sort of standard, and they unlock a whole host of things.
They do. So the arrow keys that are assigned to the letter carriers, they not only open blue boxes in this area, they can go regional. So I can probably go to New York City, but they go across a very large area. And not only do they open collection boxes, but the cluster boxes. So the cluster boxes are if you live in a suburb, they're the standing post office box, P.O. box looking equipment there, but they open, the one key opens the entire thing. Right. The same thing in an apartment building. That one key opens all the apartment building.
So sadly, if you're intent on doing online activities and you're going to look for checks, I guess it's still possible to forge checks. I mean, we use checks less and less, but still, there's a whole economy that still operates on checks.
There is more than I ever thought. Talking to the inspectors of, we're going back and forth of why is it such a hot item, because technology has kind of changed the how we pay our bills and whatnot. But apparently, it's still very popular to send checks through the mail, and that's great, but they should be protected.
And this is so disruptive because even if there's no checks in what's taken, out of a satchel, you might you might only find a handful of checks.
Sure.
I assume that the criminals don't take the non-check letters and bring them back to the post office. So anybody who was mailing, gets disrupted. I mean, you could have important documents of all kinds that are going in the mail.
And cards. I mean, how many times are we sending birthday cards with gift cards in there? And how do you track those? They may be a little bit more trackable now than they were years ago. But that's a hot item too. Is birthdays? You grab a collection box and you find 5 birthday cards.
Yeah,
it's easy to.
And people would be surprised. Now it does take significant. That's why the money is authorized at $1.4 billion. And I'm sure that's not nearly enough, but it'll at least get us started to replacing the keys, which honestly sounds like 19th century technology, let alone 20th or 21st century. But most places, you had to either have codes or you have some way to distinguish the letter carrier so that someone couldn't come in and get access to those. And I don't know what Amazon does. You obviously know more about the technology.
For what the update is or what they're looking to do? Well, they already started, and it's happening in Rochester. The keys are going to be replaced.
Yeah.
Whether the
question is the speed at which we replace them.
Whether this bill is passed, next year or 2 years or 6 months from now, the keys and the locks. It comes down to the keys and locks to be replaced. But again, that money is how fast are we doing it? And we already have the pilot program going. There's a couple things. Rochester has a handful of them.
What is, Monique? What is the, instead of a key? Is it a?
It's actually still so. From what I was told, I thought they were getting rid of the key altogether, but they do have a key, but it's linked up to the scanner.
Gotcha.
So you need, in order for that key to work, you have to use the scanner. That's one of them.
Gotcha.
And they are sending out another pilot program where it's just a key that's almost like a fob.
Yeah.
That
you can change the electrical. You can change the coding.
Every night it goes into a cabinet, they said, and it gets new codes.
Right.
And then if it's stolen, they turn it right off. You can turn it right off. So it makes it, it's not appealing anymore. It's useless if somebody else gets a hold of it. So that's the goal, is to get rid of that altogether.
And sadly, most of the attacks we think are motivated by financial. They're not just targeting letter carriers for fun or amusement. They're doing it for monetary gain.
100%.
Yeah.
And we haven't spoke in a week, but we just had one a few days ago. A gentleman was his second week by himself, and he was delivering mail, and somebody came up to him and was looking for his check, and he didn't have mail for them, and pulled the knife on him. So.
In that case, he was mad that he hadn't gotten like the letter carriers
responsible. He didn't have his check. He didn't have his check, so he pulled a knife on him, and so the letter carrier was diligent of getting away from him, getting in his truck, calling 911, getting out of the area, going back to the station. But it's just bold. It's just things that never occurred ever when I started.
So the good news is the letter carriers who were attacked seem to be physically okay, obviously suffering, I'm sure, emotionally and mentally. Yeah. Second, RPD is doing a great job on continuing to investigate these crimes. And the third is the introduction of this legislation, continuing to push it. We should just encourage people. I mean, this is not going to be the easiest bill to pass. I think anything in Washington right now is almost hard to imagine anything happening with leadership there. But this should be a real priority if people care about continuing the 250-year tradition of a postal service that people rely on, and so this should be a priority for people. Do you know, are the National Association, what are they doing in this moment to try to advocate for it? And what could people watching?
So there are days of action, and the biggest thing is if you look up your congressperson. We know Congressman Joe is already signed on, but even in this area, there's a few that are not. Call your congressperson and let them know how important it is. It doesn't matter. Parties do not matter. That's the nice part about the post office. We are everywhere. It's a bipartisan thing.
And we have done, I should say, we have helped modernize over the last couple of years. We've been working. We haven't always been all that excited about the postmaster, but we've pushed back and we got some compromises to continue to, in ways that
I mean, if you look back the last even 3 or 4 years, one of the things passed was a bipartisan bill for the pre-funding, getting rid of the pre-funding, which was Obviously we're not here for that, but that was really
Right.
substantial of getting rid of that, and definitely was bipartisan. And it was a huge thing. And so call your congressperson and let them know how important it is. It will help, and it's bottom line. I represent these letter carriers, and they should not fear for their life going to do their job every day. And that's all we want is our letter carriers to be safe, and our neighborhoods and our customers to get the good service that they want to give.
And if it doesn't, I mean, this is where people do rely on the postal service. If you have a harder time attracting people to work as letter carriers, I mean, eventually it breaks down. You're not going to have the ability to rely on it the way that you do, and the cost of postal service will go up, and stamps will continue. I mean, it has a chain reaction to it.
Correct. I mean, and we're still a last mile business where Amazon, if it's cheaper a lot of times for them to use us as their last mile. So we're delivering your Amazon and UPS. So it's not just mail. It's not just the checks. It's also packages that are being stolen too. So it's the whole thing that there should be some fear if you're going to touch the letter carrier. That's, to me,
and give them the technology that will make them less an inviting target, frankly. So both of those things.
I believe that's a huge part. So
Well, thanks for coming on and sharing this time with us, Monique Mate, who is National Association of Letter Carriers 210.
Branch 210.
Branch 210.
Branch 210.
Yeah, branch, not local.
It's okay. Branch 210. We'll take it. We're local. Local branch 210.
And please tell your beautiful mother, Betty, I said hello.
Oh, my God, I will. And she's going to love it if she sees this. Are you kidding? So
very good.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
and thank you for bringing attention and signing on so quick as you always has.